So with all the confusion about SVG converters and what an SVG file is, I thought I would do a video to do some comparisons of about 9 different online SVG converters, as well as 2 programs that run on your computer to do conversions. And for starters, let's explain what an SVG file is. SVG stands for
Scalable Vector
an
Graphic.
SVG file is actually a readable file that you can read in a text editor. So I'm going to show you what an SVG file looks like. This is typical of any SVG file. As you can see, it's an XML format, and it contains path information as to how to describe how the graphic is ordered by paths. So SVG files must contain only, well, they can actually contain an embedded image, which is not good for Design Space because they will reject it when you try to upload it. But it can contain text and paths and images. So this is if you want to know for sure whether your SVG file is really an SVG file, open it in a text editor. That'll tell you real quick. The 2 apps that I'm going to talk about today are Inkscape and Vector Magic. So I'm going to do those towards the end, and I'll try to put a link in the video as to where you can go directly to those portions in the video. I went to these different websites over here. I went to picsvg.com, which seems to be a fairly popular one. When I go onto the different Facebook groups. And I also did png to svg.com. That's another popular one. And I went to one called Pixeled. And I went to one called PixSVG. And another one called Online Convert. And another one called Image to Go, which looks to be identical to this one here. And then I also went to freeconvert.com and convert.io. And I want to show you the differences, how these look in Design Space between all of these different converters. So let's bring up Design Space. This first one here is, let me go over to my projects. So this is picsvg.com, and they have a couple of different options across the top, and they show what the results are going to look like. So you can select Edge 1, and it'll look like this. You can select Edge 2, and it will look like this. You can select Edge 3, and it will look like that. Or Edge 4 will look like that. Internal 1 will look like this. So far, this one looks probably the cleanest. Let's try internal 2 or internal 2. Let's try internal 3. Internal 3 looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and download the SVG file from that. This is called PIC-SVG. Let's bring that into upload. And then we'll upload that. And then we will add it to our canvas. And then we'll take a look at what we've got. So this appears to have put a lot of different layers, quite a few different layers. And there are no separation of colors. So if you wanted this to be colored, you're going to have to find all the individual pieces and change the color. For example, this one I believe was blue. So we could just make that a blue like that. But all of, and the black with the lettering removed, again, like I've shown before, we'd probably replace that with just a circle of solid black. But each one of these little pieces in here are, there's no coloration in it. So you'd have to click on each one to figure out what the proper color should be and change the color before you make the project. So that is PICSVG. So this is freeconvert.com. And we'll bring in our sample. We're able to select the output, but the output does not include SVG. Oh, yes, it does. There it is, SVG. So we're going to convert that to SVG. And then we'll download it. So this is freeconvert.svg. And then we'll go into Design Space and we'll upload FreeConvert. And it took quite a while for it to load, which is probably not good, not a good sign. But we'll add it to the canvas. Maybe. There we go. And we've uploaded it. Now we're adding it to the canvas. And as you can see, it has tons and tons of layers, which, although it is colored, unlike many of the others, all the layers have to be separated, and I don't think that you would want to spend much time dealing with this particular conversion. It looks pretty ragged and there's way too much work here. So I think we could conclude that this one is not worth wasting your time on. And we'll go over to upload. And I have uploaded the results from all these different converters. And so if we start over here on the right side, this particular one, when I mouse over, this is PNG to SVG. So we'll go ahead and add that one to the canvas so you can see what it looks like. And because SVG files are scalable, that's what it means, scalable scalable vector graphics. I'm sorry, I think I said that wrong in the beginning. So they can be rescaled to any size and not lose their quality. That's the advantage to using SVG files. And you can see that this one here produces 3 different layers: a black layer, a blue layer, and a white layer. And that's good. But the black layer, if we turn everything off and just turn on the black layer, it's got a lot of extra cuts in it. So if I were going to use this particular file conversion, I would actually create a circle of this diameter, which is 9.845 by 9.857. And I would replace this black background with just a black circle, and then turn that off. And then the black would appear behind these two. Now, looking at this, let's turn off the blue, for example. This is what your white is going to look like. And that's okay. That's good. And if we turn that off and we turn on the blue, this is what the blue looks like. Now, the blue has got a lot of extra garbage in it. This stuff here that's in the background, all of that, that is not going to be something that you can layer easily. So that needs to all be removed, which you could do in Contour. And depending on how much that is there, your Contour may take a while to load. I'm just going to hide this, stop this, because it could take a while. But anyhow, you would need to remove all of that if you were going to use this particular conversion of PNG to SVG, their website. Okay, so let's turn everything back on. Actually, let's just go and do a new project, replace this. And we'll go to upload. So that was the first one. This one here, this is convertio.co, I believe is the name of their website. And so we're going to add that one to our canvas and see what it says. And as you can see here, this has got a lot more layers, many more layers. And it's all one color. So they haven't sorted it by color, and they've got a lot more layers to deal with. So if you wanted to actually see how all this works layer by layer, you could turn them on one at a time. And that one is just a little dot here, so that's kind of useless. This one here, I don't even see anything. Oh, that's because it's turned off. Let's turn that. Well, sorry. Oh, okay, here we go. So these are all of the different pieces. They're very small pieces. So if you're trying to layer this, this is going to be a bit of a problem. So this is not exactly one I would recommend. But as you can see, there's a lot of different cuts. Okay. The next one is online-convert.com. So let's add that one to our canvas. Again, it looks like it's a black background with less cut layers, but they're not separated into the colors. So if you turn everything off and you turn them back on one at a time, you can see there are little tiny spots here that you're going to have to deal with when you do the layers. And so it is also missing the text that went along the side here that was in the original file. So the original file had something about 2022 over here and mint something or other words or over here on the left side. So those are missing altogether. So I wouldn't consider this particular online converter very good either. So let's go to the next one. This one here is from freeconvert.com. And we'll add that one to our canvas. And you see both of these two here that we looked at don't have the extra lettering that's in blue. Now this one is taking a long time to load, and it looks like the layers panel has just got tons and tons and tons of little things that would have to be layered, would be quite difficult. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. So this is essentially useless. So let's go ahead and get rid of that one. And let's check the next one out. So this one is a website called vectordad.com. And they actually have a purchasable application for your computer, which works very, very well. But and we're going to review that one. But this one did pretty good, except there's a lot of stringy artifacts right in through here. This doesn't look all that well. Let's go in and turn everything off and look at the cuts individually. So that is our white, it looks like, or black. Maybe that's black. Yeah, that's black. So I would eliminate that layer altogether, probably. And I would just delete that. So we'll turn that one off. The next layer down here is white, I believe. Oh, well, that's pretty messy too. And so if you were going to try to layer this, this would be difficult. And here's our blue, which did very good. Much better anyhow. You would still need some cleanup on this. And of course, our black layer over here, which again, I would eliminate that and just do a solid black layer. And then of course your white. So your white and a solid black circle would take care of most of this, and the blue is pretty close. So if I were doing this, I would turn these off and I would go over here and contour this one and clean that up just a bit. But this one looks like so far is a better version than the ones we've looked at so far. Like I said, it does have a little bit of artifacts around here. So you could clean this one up pretty easily. These are all of the little extra pieces that you could remove with the contour. Okay. Where were we? That was Vector Dad. This next one, oh, I'm sorry, Vector Dad. It's Vector Magic that we have the external application for, not Vector Dad. So this is Vector Magic. and we'll add that one to our canvas. And this one here has quite a few layers, but they're separated by color. So if you look at the color sync, here's all your white and here's all of your black. And there's one in here again that I would probably replace the one that has the lettering on it. If we could find that particular one, it's probably down here. I don't know. This one, no. This one here. I don't know if I can move that. Let's turn everybody off except. Oh no, that didn't. Just turning one off. Well, anyhow, that there, I don't know if I can grab it. Let's just do a duplicate so you can see what that looks like. I would replace this with just a solid black circle, so you didn't have to cut out all that lettering in there because that's not needed. You have a white background that goes on top of it. So that's what I would do anyhow. And if you did a make it on this, you would have your different cuts here. Okay. And the next one, I believe we did this one, right? This was Vector Magic. So Vector Magic, that's the one that was, we're gonna demonstrate that as a paid application for your computer. This is Inkscape. This is free, and I actually use this one probably the most. It does require a little bit more knowledge, but again, it produced 3 layers, which makes it easy to deal with. The black layer, if we turn everything off and turn the black layer on, it's got the writing in it, which is, again, I would replace this with just a black circle because and put it on the bottom layer. And then we would add our blue and our white. Now, we've exposed something here that is a problem, and that is the blue has got a lot of extra garbage here. And I'm going to show you how to correct that in Inkscape rather than deal with it as a contour in Design Space. And so I think that was all of the different converter tools that I have listed here. So Inkscape, I believe this was the last one. Yeah. So now let's go ahead. I want to, I'll come back to Inkscape last because I want to show you, Vector Magic. This is Vector Magic. Again, this is a program that you install on your computer, and you have to purchase it, and it's rather expensive. But if I went over here and took my sample and brought it in here, this is so easy to use because all you got to do is go up here and hit fully automatic, and it will go through and build your SVG file for you. And of course, it will separate it into colors. And while that's running, let's go over to Inkscape because I wanted to show you Inkscape. Now, this is actually my go-to program that I use the most, although I do have Vector Magic. I can use it and sometimes do. But I want to explain how to use this. So I'm going to delete everything here. I'm going to go over to my sample, which is sample.jpg. This is a JPEG raster image. And I'm going to bring that into the workspace. I'm going to make sure that the lock icon is set, and I'm going to make this larger so that we can work with it more easily. That's probably good enough. There we go. So I want to show you how to use trace bitmap, which is under path, trace bitmap. And you have options to do single scan, and you can play with the thresholds and the edge detection and auto trace, those different methods. But when I'm dealing with something that's color like this, I select multicolor, which is the second tab over. And I leave the default set to, well, I've changed the number of scans because I know this has 3 colors in it. So I've set the number of scans to 3. I've set the detection mode to colors. And speckles is by default, I think, is 2, and smooth corners is 1.0, and optimize is 0.2. I think these are the default parameters. And if you want, you can actually remove the background. I'm going to leave the background in there. And this gives you a preview of this checkbox is checked, so you can see what it's going to do. So if we do the apply, and then we drag this top one over to the side, the way that you can tell whether or not this is a vector graphics or not is you can come up to the node editor, which is up here in the second tool down on the left side. And then you can go over here to your image, and you can see that it has all these little nodes paths around here. And if we do the same thing over on your original image, you won't find any of those. So this is how you can tell whether your graphics is a vector graphics or whether it's just a raster file. Since we're not interested in the raster file, we only want vector graphics. I'm going to delete the original file, and we will move our vector graphics over here. Now, if you go up to layer and go to the layers and objects, you will see that the 3 layers are here, and you can turn them off one at a time. So I'm going to turn off each of these layers and then turn them back on one at a time, because the one that I want to find is the blue, which is this one, because we know it has artifacts in it, which are a problem when we bring it into Design Space. And you can see those artifacts, but they're a little bit difficult to see, but they're here. Right up in this area here and down here. And so if I go to my node editor and then I mouse over them, now we can plainly see where all of the garbage is. And to get rid of it, we simply, while these nodes are visible like that, we can now hold our left mouse button down and drag an area that we want to delete. I'll select all of those nodes and then hit the delete key on your keyboard. And then we can come back and do some additional ones until we've cleaned this up. Or you can delete them one at a time, like this. But now this part right in here is the lettering, and we want to keep that. So let me just get rid of the stuff that's on either side of it. And we'll go over here and do it over here as well. And all of this, get rid of that. And I don't want to get rid of everything here, but I want to get rid of most of everything. Whoops, don't want to do that. Let's see if we can. We may have to delete them one at a time if we get too close to, or we could zoom in, and that would make it easier to spot these. Oh, yeah, well, I got rid of one extra one there I didn't want to get rid of. Okay. So now we've cleaned up that blue image, and if we, so now what I'm going to do is I want to save this file. I want to show you how to do that. We'll turn all of these back on so we can see everything. And then we're going to go up to File, Save As, and we're going to make sure we change this from Inkscape SVG to plain SVG, because we're going to bring this into Design Space. And so I'm going to call this Inkscape fixed.svg. And I put that on my folder over here. And now we'll go into Design Space and go into Upload. And we'll pick Upload Image. We'll go to Saved Files, Vector Conversion, Inkscape Fixed. That's it. We're going to upload that. We're going to select that and add that to the canvas. And again, you can expand this any size you want. But we know before that we had a problem with the blue. So I'm going to turn everything off and turn the blue back on. And now you see we have a clean blue layer. And if we turn that off, we turn the black on, we have something we don't really need. We can actually look at the size. This is 10.539. So I could go into my shapes and bring a circle onto the to here and make that 10.539. 10.539. We'll change that to black. And put that over there, and let's get rid of that one, and let's turn everything back on. Let's move this one to the back. And I think I've got it off just a little bit here. Nudged it. So you have the same result, but you don't have to deal with cutting out the extra lettering. And so I would just delete that. And that would be my finished product. And I would go to make it. There's our white mat, nice and clean. There's our black circle. And there is our blue that we could layer on there. So again, I saved the best for last. I believe Inkscape is a far better tool to do the vector graphics with. I could have removed the background. The only caveat I need to probably mention is that if you have something that has white in it, that's what it's going to remove when you do remove background. So if you don't want the white removed, just be aware that that is something that happens. There is a website that we use. Let's go over here and go to remove.bg. And that website allows you to remove the background if you want to remove the background. And as you can see that it removed the white background around here. It also removed it underneath the lettering. So that might be unintended consequences. Also, the little king's hat down here got removed. So you could go in to edit and play with some of these different different ones. Or you could do a restore. And so I guess you can do a restore here and you could get your white back by doing, you could change your brush size, for example. And if you wanted your white back, you could restore it this way. Same way over here. So if we didn't want all of that stuff removed, yeah, we could do it like that. Okay. So that is remove.bg. And that concludes my demonstration. And if you have any questions, be sure to leave your questions in the comments, or you can email me at larryfortna@gmail.com. So that's LARRYFORTNA @gmail.com.